Well, hello everyone. It's Heidi. I work for the product recruiter, and I've been getting a lot of messages recently just asking about, hey, what's going on in the market? Give us some market insights. What's happening in the market? Can you talk about the market? I wish I could take everyone's call who wants to talk about the market. I really wish I could, but I can't. I have to do the searches for which we've been retained. So here's the video about what's happening in the market. Please share this with anyone you know in your community who is asking the same questions. Now, understand that if you ask 10 different people in different parts of the world, how's the market, you're going to get 10 different answers. So this is my humble point of view based on what I'm seeing. And I would love to hear, if you're listening to this, chime in the comments below. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? And include in the comments where you're listening from, where you're watching from. Are you in the US? Where in the US? Because we're seeing a lot of different scenarios according to region, according to types of companies, stages of businesses. So, the fascinating thing is that nothing very few things are like broad brush for everyone because there's always pockets and bubbles that are experiencing something really incredible or really, 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 really bad. So, anyways, I'm going to try to cover off some really big ideas and some helpful tips if you're in an interviewing flow with things. Here's a teaser. I'm going to include a couple of reasons why some candidates don't advance in an interview process and some do. So if you're in interview processes, listen up for some insights. First of all, the big news is something that I've been talking about already forever, which should come as no surprise to you, but it's still relevant today. It's still the headliner, and that is generalists are out, domain experts are in. That is still what's going on. Why is that? Well, it should be obvious, but here's the answer because employers want rapid ROI on a hire. They want you up and running as fast as possible. They don't have time to teach you, train you, mentor you to learn their type of product or the industry who they sell to. Okay. And if we think about the more senior you are and why that is true is because if you're a CPO or a vice president, probably a CEO is the hiring stakeholder. And if we think about a CEO persona who is hiring you, CEOs don't churn as often as product people do. So they have been living with that problem set, with that use case, that business for a while. So they're domain experts often, and they see through their lens, which is, well, I don't understand how anybody could ever learn this if they're not a domain expert. So there's that. Now, this is, of course, we cannot assume that what is true for one thing is true for everyone because the fascinating thing about a product leader hiring product manager, so let's transition now to that next level, is that based on the experiences of the product leader, that oftentimes determines their flexibility for domain expertise or not. So if real life examples, if that chief product officer used to work for a services firm, a digital agency, a consulting company, whatever, they're going to have a very different opinion, often, perhaps, of who they might be flexible to hire because they themselves have done a major pivot, working for not even a product company to now they're a CPO, VP of a product company. Suddenly they might be more flexible or whatever. There's many examples. So anyways, something to always think about if you're a candidate in a search is to look at the stakeholder who is the hiring stakeholder and their background, because that might give you clues about possible roadblocks that you'll face based on their bias of what they have never done or what they have done. Okay? So that's that. Now, the other big thing, the other headliner that I don't think I've posted about yet on LinkedIn, so this might be new to you. I think it's going to be, or maybe not, is maker versus manager and this tension. Okay. So, what do I mean by that? So, right now, most employers are optimizing for the maker. They want makers versus managers. Why is that? Well, we've just come out of 2 years of downsizings. How many people are there really to manage? Probably fewer than ever. And most organizations are not on a hiring blitz where now there's all these people to manage. Now, of course, this is different, company to company, but the other way to look at this situation is that what is happening right now? Well, organizations are trying to figure out how do we grow revenue? How do we get new customers? How do we deliver more value into the product? How do we apply AI and make everything more automated and intuitive and beautiful? It reads our mind and it does all the things. We need to make it all the things that it could possibly be to get more customers, that our current customers never churn out, that we have high scores in this and that we end up in Gartner's quadrants, that we are able to attract investors because our thing does all the things and it delivers all the value, and that maybe someone will buy us, acquire us, we can go public, and life is happily ever after. All of that comes from making. The managing is, oh yeah, and by the way, you're going to manage some people. But most employers, when we are being engaged for leadership searches right now, the number one requirement is, and we'd like someone who manages others. Well, no kidding. It's a VP role. No, it is always about the maker narrative. Now, why is this important? Why am I bringing this up? Because it's hard to be a candidate. So if you're listening to this and you're a candidate, you're in a full-blown job search, okay? This is not natural to you because what is natural to you, hopefully, is your ability to deliver great value and build products, the making stuff, okay? And so that's who you are professionally. You are not a professional candidate where you're out there every day for 20 years, right? So that means that while you're on a candidate journey, curating your narrative to be a maker versus a manager becomes important. It's a discipline and a skill. What do I mean by that? So here's a practical example of what I often hear. Okay. What do you want to do next? I might ask you, how are you optimizing your search? What are the things that you're going to be, the trade-offs that you're going to make for one opportunity versus another? This is part of what I want to know. If someone's first response and answer to me is, well, I really love to manage people. And so I'm really looking for that opportunity to manage others and, build a team. I want to build a team again. And I want to, mentor. I get such satisfaction of building teams and mentoring teams. And I'm passionate, actually. I'm passionate about mentoring and managing teams and growing teams and all of that stuff. That's a manager narrative. All right. But most organizations, that's just part of the job, but you'll be hired to build a business, to make a business, to stand up things that don't exist. You're going to own it and figure it out so that the company is successful and gets customers and revenue and all the things that we've already talked about, right? So, so if the narrative going in is, I want to manage people, you've missed the point because you're not in product management to manage people. You're in product management to manage products. And managing products means building business and building it. If your life's ambition is to manage others, you could have done that through any function in a management role. And maybe you need to work for a very large enterprise. But some of the most successful PMs in the world are not managing anyone, and they might even make more money than you do. So anyways, oh, sorry. These are things to think about. So curate your narrative to that of a maker because that's what employers want. And the byproduct of being a kick-ass maker is that you might get to lead others and manage someone. Okay? Anyways, oh, and by the way, here's the other cool thing. A lot of people, when they're a maker, think, I want to become a manager one day. And then when they become one, they realize, I don't want to manage anyone. I just want to be a maker. And that is the beautiful thing about product careers is that people go back and forth many times in their career. And it's perfectly acceptable. It is not a failure. The function in a tech company where it's often still, you're climbing the ladder is in sales. But even then, but we're sticking with product here. So if you're someone who says, you know what, I just love to build shit and I don't want any headaches of managing people, good for you because there's lots of opportunities for you and will always be. And that's probably why you got into product is because you wanted to do stuff like that, build products. Anyways, that's enough of that. Hardest hit are the middle management layers. Oof, the manager level of product in a product org. Oh dear, ouch, not a lot of those. Group PMs, director levels. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yeah, those are tough. Not a lot of those roles. And release that. I know it's hard. You don't want to hear that. If you've been in that role, you don't want to hear it. But guess what? If you're as good of a maker as I think you are, I hope you are, and you know you are, it's only a matter of time where they're going to ask you to step back into the management opportunities. Okay. That's why it's all about being a maker, because those people will probably get tapped for the other roles. So anyways, if you're in middle management, be flexible. Don't optimize for title because title is vapor. A title is vapor. What it means to one company, it's the opposite over here. If it means that you like titles are funny things. If it means everything to you, you're gonna have a tough time. Anyways, enough about that. I want to talk about the market for people who have relocated to North America. That's a tough journey. That's a tough journey. So I'm not going to talk about the visa, work permit stuff. I want to talk about what we're seeing for candidates who have relocated to North America, but who still look on paper like they're not in North America. Get it together. Um, your resume and your go-to-market has to look like you have been here for a long time and a while. Constant references to markets that are not the one that you are now living in might not help you. What do I mean by this? If we think about resumes, we need to curate our resumes and only serve up what the user persona of the resume cares about. What do they care about? Your accomplishments, your outcomes, and trying to understand what is that product that you have been responsible for managing. If you don't communicate a use case on your resume to connect the dots that it is a SaaS product or whatever it is, you're not helping the user persona scanning your resume in seconds figure out if you're relevant to their company or not. So if you've worked for a company that no one in North America has ever heard of, help the people in North America understand what you have actually shipped. Next, so the other thing about curating a resume is constant references to the country where that company that you've worked for is based. So if you think about a North American resume, do they say Oracle, Pleasanton, or Apple Cupertino? It's just the employer name. We don't need to know where every company headquarters is based. That's extra. It's filler. Get it off there. And if you're constantly in the description of what you've done, overemphasizing the countries where you're used, like, think about it. in it from a North American context, we don't talk about who might say HubSpot. Let's just take HubSpot. If we're looking at a product manager's resume from HubSpot, they're not overemphasizing all of the US states and the US and the Canadian customers because they're in Canada through a resume narrative. Okay? Allow allow your outcomes to be showcased on your resume over all of the location stuff. Why is this? Why is this important? Because here's the challenge. Most North American employers want North American work experience. That's why. So create the curiosity that if your outcomes are like, wow, and then you get called in for an interview, that's why they wanted to meet you was because of your outcomes. That's what got you in the door. And they might ask you, wow, I've never heard of this company before. Where are they based? That's when you provide all the insight about that organization. But we have to try to unlock the meeting. And how do you unlock a meeting through a resume? Outcomes and explaining what is that product. All right. I hope that was helpful. I hope so. Okay. Let's talk about a couple of reasons why someone might not advance to the next step in an interview process. Okay. Now, some of this might seem like, well, yeah, of course, that person. But this is a shock to some people. And again, this is the first one I'm going to talk about is because there is, we've all heard about founder mode. Thank you, Brian Chesky and Y Combinator, but there's a candidate mode. Okay. So when you're in candidate mode, you are standing under the spotlight and it is about you, hiring you. But employee mode is about we and team. Are you tracking with me? Right? So in an interview, what an employer is trying to figure out is, what did you do? One of our clients in 2024, actually two of our clients said the same thing. They said, we're trying to figure out, was the person in the room when decisions were being made, or were they the one making the decisions? That happened to us twice in the back half of 2024. So as a candidate, when you're in candidate mode, you are not talking, well, we did this and then we solved the problem. And then, I don't want to say me because, oh, God forbid, it's a team. It's always a team. I'm not the only one. Employers know that it takes a village to ship software bought by enterprise customers. They know that. But you are the person they are thinking about hiring. That's why you were pulled into the interview, not the whole team of people you worked with at your last company. It's you. So employers need to feel good that they understand what you did and that if they hire you, you will be able to do it for them and that they don't need to hire the whole team you worked with at that company to get anything done, right? And we are still if we talk about what is the market like, everyone has resource constraints. Whoever has like, oh my God, there's just so many people to do everything. I can't believe it. Very rarely. Everyone's resource constrained. No one ever has enough for the grandiose things that someone is trying to achieve. So welcome to that. And so you are going to have to explain what you did and the decisions you made and how you unlocked something, identified something, problem solved something, stayed up all night to figure it out something, met with the largest client to figure out what they would buy. It was you and them in a Zoom or at a coffee shop or in a boardroom. There wasn't a team of 30 people there with you. You were the one. You did it. Okay? And then when that company hires you, then it will be about we and what we are going to do and what the team is going to accomplish. I hope this made sense. All right, I know it did. So there's that. Another way that a candidate, another reason why one candidate might not be selected for the next step in a process. And this also is seen on resumes. Okay. So this is also resume advice as well as interview advice on why some people don't make it is overemphasis on process, how you do it, your frameworks, you're this and you're that. And I know books have been written about it, podcasts are all about it, all the ways, all the tools, all the frameworks. But employers want outcomes. That's really it. How you did it. Yeah, they'll get to that in maybe the second interview. Or maybe if you're meeting with the, engineering counterpart or product ops or someone, but that first interview where it's about, okay, we're going to cull people down here. We got 10 interviews, we're going to cull it down to 4. Okay? Outcomes, 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 relevancy, domain experience, cultural fit. Are they looking us in the eye of the camera or are they still over here, over here? Because that still happens. This still happens. So it's about outcomes, overemphasizing processes. We've got to tune our ear to what the interviewer is asking, and we answer that. If someone asks you the question, what are you most proud of having achieved while you were there? It's not about the framework and the process and even though I know it is, because that part was probably the hardest part and you moved mountains and you changed all of it, but aligning and attaching to business and outcomes and value. I am most proud of the fact that we identified the number one roadblock that prevented the last 5 opportunities that our sales team had, that prevented those customers from buying. We figured out why. And so we da 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 da, and that meant that our win rate increased by ba 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 ba. Right? I'm so proud that when we started the year, Gartner had us in the category they don't even talk about. But you know what? Over that period of time, we identified that one piece of something, something, and that actually helped us win an anchor account that suddenly Gartner and Forrester wanted to meet with us and understand. Blah, 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 blah. It's always aligning to, I'm so proud of the fact that our product was kind of this lunky, clunky legacy thing, but we were able to reimagine the experience to move the number one thingamajig from 30 clicks and it took a week to, 2 steps of a button and it read our minds. I'm of course exaggerating because I'm trying to make this interesting and say everything fast, but you know what I mean. It's always about value to the business, to the product, to the user, to the customer. And then when the question is, how did you do that? Well, how much time have you got? Because we had to overhaul the entire process and weigh that we actually delivered something, something, something. Oh my God, I want to hear all about it. Okay. So anyways, I hope this was helpful. I hope this was helpful. Here's the thing when I think about product managers, you guys are all doing incredible hard things and you're not professional candidates. You're professional product people. And that's it. That's it for today. What did I not cover? What are you curious to understand in more detail? Here's why I'm asking. Because I and 2 of my colleagues are going to be doing an Ask Me Anything event at the end of this month. Give us like a week and a half to get our act together. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it live on LinkedIn. Are you ready for that? That's it. So comment, email me your questions, or join us for that Ask Me Anything. Watch my LinkedIn because I'm going to be posting the date when we do it. I think it's going to be a Wednesday. It won't be the week after this. It won't be this week. It might be next week or the week after. So watch for that. And I hope you're there. And if you think you know someone who should listen or watch this because they're asking you about market insights, share this with them if you think it might help someone. All right. Have a great day. Go ship some product. And I remember listening to Joey Benedict Benedict, Benedict at when he spoke at the TPMA event a couple of months ago. I'm going to borrow his sign off to his daily emails and meetings, which is go have some fun, build something, or was it go have fun, let's have fun, let's build something. So, anyways, you guys go have fun and you build something, be that maker, and I can't wait to talk to you again one day. We'll talk soon. Bye now.